Welcome back, once again to this special episode of DHANDHA series, which is presented by Omkara Capital. There are people who you want to learn. There are people, who have been in a very tough industry for the last, I think, 35 years. Yet slowly and steadily, they have managed to grow. One such company, which we are very happy and lucky as well to interact and learn is Brigade Enterprise. And who better than Jaishankar sir, who will help us to learn today. He will be our guru. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out on a holiday to interact with us and all our, viewers as well. We look forward to learn from you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Bansal, and thank you for this initiative and this quite innovative and all with the primary purpose of, I would say, educating
Yes.
people who are much recent than us in this tough industry, as you say.
Yes, sir. Also, I'm joined by Shivam as always. He's the one
Hi, Shivam. Hi,
the
Shivam.
Hello, sir.
real estate sector at Omkara Capital.
Yeah.
And sir, before I start, I would want to put a very big disclaimer that Omkara Capital or Brigade, they don't have any commercial arrangement.
Yes.
Mr. Bansal or Mr. Jaishankar, we don't have any commercial arrangement. This
Very
is purely an educational series where we want to learn in a very simple language from the promoters who have seen all in a very tough industry. We
Yes.
are investors in Brigade. We have advised our clients to buy this company based on only our fundamental research, nothing else. But there's no commercial arrangement at all, with both the companies.
That's nice. Nice of you. Nice of you to say the facts and give the disclaimer.
Very important, sir, because niyat achhi hai, sir, but it's very important to put all these things in front of everyone. Sir, the idea behind DHANDHA series is very simple. Okay, so you come on various channels, you come on various platforms. The kind of experience you have in this industry for last 35 years can't be contained in 5, 7, 10 minutes interview, right?
Yeah.
There is so much to learn from you. And there are many people who does not know what is the difference between, say, Brigade, Prestige, Oberoi. For them, real estate is real estate, right? Sab ek company jaisa hota hai. So there are people who want to learn and understand what Brigade is in a very simple, dil se, no jargons language. So I will request you, whatever language you prefer, whichever way, just dil se bolna, sir, jo bhi ho. We should love to hear each and every word what you say.
Sure. It is okay. I can start. And Brigade is a real estate.
Sorry. I will stop you here, sir. Why? So our thesis always is कि Brigade से पहले let us focus on the promoter.
Yeah.
So हम P model करते हैं, sir. जहाँ promoter, product, and then price.
Okay.
So first, let us know who Mr. Jaishankar is,
Yeah.
because that for us, that understanding is very important.
Yeah.
How did you enter Brigade? How was Brigade born? Take us back to that 35 years journey, because recently I interacted with one of your friends, Mr. Razak, and he told me that both of you started very small. आप लोग दोनों घूमने जाते थे, अलग-अलग जगह पे जाते थे, and that is how you interacted. So help us to understand how Brigade was born. How did you enter? What was your qualification? If you can take back to the family also, we will love to hear.
So I'll do that in as short a time as possible. See, I come from a coffee growing or coffee plantation family from Chikmagalur, which is in Karnataka. Chikmagalur is known for coffee growing, and it was also made famous in 1979 when Mrs. Gandhi got re-elected after the emergency and after the Janata government. So that way, most people, though they don't know coffee, they know Chikmagalur.
Wow.
And my family has got more than 100 years of legacy in coffee and philanthropy. We have a very good reputation there. And you'll be surprised, I come from a very large family in the sense my grandfather had 10 sons and 2 daughters. My father had 12 children, 6 daughters and 6 sons. I am the 12th man in the family. you know, and with so much of background in coffee, naturally my interest was to be in coffee.
Of
With
course.
the result, I studied BSc Agriculture.
Hmm.
My graduation is a BSc Agriculture, and then I did, since there were quite a few in the family doing agriculture or coffee plantation thing. There was not much space for me within the family. So I said, let me study more, and I did MBA, Business Administration Masters, and then naturally that really changed my outlook in life towards business, etc. That was a big turning point. And also I found my life partner in the college. So it is memorable that way. Geeta is her name.
Lovely.
And and with the result, I wanted to start something in an industry. I did have a very brief stint of 1 year as a sales officer in a battery manufacturing company. Then, of course, the family pressure was to do something on our own. So, with MBA and with plantation family as the background, I started a small scale industry in 1980 to process coffee and chicory. Chicory is something which goes into coffee, whether you drink brew or French coffee, it is generally called. And that was a very successful small scale industry. But for whatever reason, in 1984, I had a major industrial relations issue, and there were unions, and my factory was set on fire.
Okay.
To be precise, when I was, just 28 years old.
Hmm.
And I said, this is the time to diversify.
So
So,
you started this when you were what, 24 years?
no, the factory I started when I was 24 years.
So
Yeah.
20, I think 28 or 29, you started Brigade, right?
Yeah. About, you can say 30, 29 years, I identified the property, I would say.
Yeah.
So when the factory was set on fire, and the thing was, naturally, my father said, just come back to your hometown and just manage coffee estates. I said, no, I think I would like to do something different.
Hmm.
And I said, after studying the different opportunities, I said, why not real estate?
Hmm.
So why not real estate was the question. And when I was 29, I identified a prime place in Brigade Road, which is in one of the prime roads in Bangalore.
Hmm.
And at that time, my first project was the tallest private sector building when I launched in 1986 October. It was called Brigade Towers. At one stage, my address used to be, my company name was, Brigade Investments, Brigade Towers, 135 Brigade Road, Bangalore. That was my address.
But how real estate, sir? It's a very tough sector, right?
Yeah.
From coffee plantation to real estate. Did
Yeah.
anyone in your family had an experience of, say, real estate?
No, absolutely no. It was greenfield. It was greenfield for me and for the family. But we said this is an area where there could be opportunities. And in 1986, the sector, the industry is now, we call it as an industry. At that time, the business was quite nascent. It was very nascent. There was a handful of residential projects, and there was hardly any office building which was for strata sale. Probably I still claim ours was one of the first strata sale office building in Bangalore, from whatever I know. So my first project was a very big success for me. Brigade Towers, it was a 14-story building. And till then, 14-story buildings were not allowed in Bangalore.
Sir,
Oh,
I asked the same question to Mr. Razak also. I asked the same question to you. We think, and we could be wrong, that for real estate, you need a lot of money, a lot of political connections, a lot of, hold, in that area. I again go back to the same question. How come like going to real estate and going with the tallest building, setting that benchmark in 1986, which no one thought, right? Right.
Yeah. So that was a bold move. It was I would say quite a calculated risky move. We had just enough money for purchase of the land. We
Okay.
didn't have that much money for the construction itself. And that way, I may not be wrong in saying, State Bank of India's first 1 crore loan, 1 crore project loan in 1987 was for our building in the country, I'm saying.
Wow.
So this 1 crore loan of State Bank of India was approved by the Central Board of State Bank of India. Today, many branch managers of State Bank has powers to sanction much bigger loans. At that time, it went to the Central Board of State Bank, and which was just 100 lakhs loan in that point in time.
You didn't get
And I must tell you, since you mentioned about political connections, etc., since we are Bangalore based, in 35 years period, I can very strongly say and vouch for not only me and most of my friend developers that we have not approached a politician for an approval. It goes through the usual bureaucratic process and the authorities, civic authorities process. As long as we are in the right path, there is no need to go to any politician for a permission in Karnataka. It could be a bit different in other states.
You didn't get any resentment from your family, sir, कि क्या कॉफी का धंधा छोड़ के कहाँ पे रियल एस्टेट में घुस रहे हो आप?
No resentment was there. Absolutely no resentment. On the other hand, there was support because we were, getting into some other field of activity other than agriculture or plantations. But there was apprehension in the family that, without any knowledge in real estate, without prior background, and attempting the first 14-story building in Bangalore, isn't it risky? And they advised me to why not restrict the building just to 4 floors, make it a low-rise building and not a high-rise building. But I think that was a calculated risk I took, and did work hard for its success. And it was due to the location, God's grace. I must all say, for any success, God's grace is important. And a combination of factors, good timing. There was, as I said, there was hardly any strata sale office space in Bangalore. And it was a very good, I would say, super success for me, for the company as a partnership company. And we just started it as a single project company. There was no intention to make it into a continuing business in real estate. But the success of the first project gave us the confidence to take 2 projects next. And the success of those 2 made it as 4 projects. And it went on like this. But during this period from 1985 to 86, 86 to now, in 35 years, you can say I have seen 4 major business cycles and 4 recessions. Some of the people may not be aware that in 1991, there was the Indian financial crisis when, government of India had to pledge its gold, as we did not have more than 15 days, ability to import primarily oil and other goods. So at that time, there was definitely a recession. Then, of course, there was a good growth once the Narasimha Rao government came in 1992. There was quite a bit of liberalization that gave confidence on India to the international investors. But there was I would say, a certain amount of overconfidence in the sector, thinking that a lot of money will come from Hong Kong, Hong Kong went back to China in 1990. 95 or 96, around that time, it went back to China. So they thought all the Indians from Hong Kong will return to India and invest in real estate. Around the same time, so there was a certain amount of boom in 1996, 97. But then what is referred to as the Asian financial crisis hit the sector, when George Soros, one of the big investors in the world, he manipulated a lot, particularly in Malaysia and other places. So there was a Asian financial crisis.
Yes, sir. We saw those, large four cycles, as you mentioned, during that.
Yeah.
So I can say, sir, safely that you are a risk taker.
I would say so. I would say calculated risk taker. Okay. No, not indiscriminate risk taker. Calculated risk taker is what I feel. I think that only because of that, probably we are still in the business.
Tell us a bit about your family, sir. As you said that you are total, I think, 12 siblings. You are the 12th one.
Yes.
And hard-hitting one, coming on the number one, as a number one batsman. What about your family, sir? Are they part of
so as a partnership company, they're all a part of it. Then we made it into a private limited company in 1997, 98. That is but bulk of the family members are shareholders, and they were also bulk of the family. But my elder brothers were also directors up to a point of time till we got listed, and even subsequently. In the recent past, I think we have, I would say, churned the board. We have brought in youngsters in the family, and we have great independent directors. And, I would say the second generation is beginning to take very active interest. That is a big positive for me and for the organization. They are all highly capable and eminently qualified. There are three youngsters in the family. My elder daughter, Pavitra, she is a MBA from Columbia Business School, New York, in real estate. And she has also worked in a large fund in San Francisco real estate fund. And she looks into the residential side of the business. And also finance and technology like that. My younger daughter Nirupa, she is also MBA in hospitality from the Cornell Business School, which is one of the most reputed hospitality business schools. So she looks into the commercial side of business. My nephew Amar Mysore, he is an engineer, and in industrial engineering, he is from the Penn State in the United States. He looks into the engineering side also. And in addition, he manages a few large projects. And we have highly qualified professionals as either CEOs in residential hospitality or COOs in I would say office business and retail like that. And of course, qualified CFO and a president engineering who is also an executive director of the company. Lovely. So that way, I think it is in safe hands.
Sir, sorry. So is it right to say that any of your family member are they involved in real estate kind of projects or infra? Like, I understand your both daughters are in Brigade, and your nephew, but your brothers, sisters, is there any?
No, they are not involved. They have stake in the company because some of them are still looking into the coffee side of the business, and or we do have another one of the brothers manages printed circuit board manufacturing company. So that way. None of them are actually involved in the day-to-day affairs of the real estate side of it.
But in real estate, Brigade is the only company. I just wanted to clarify that. In real estate from the Mysore family, Brigade is the only company where all the efforts of the entire family, whether it is shareholders or whether it is executive role, are focused on this company. Am I right?
Yes, yes, you can say so.
So one big difference, sir, which I have seen, in South and versus Northern companies, I don't know why it is. And again, Mr. Razak also, reminded me this, that you also have this willpower of getting your new generation into a very tough industry, right? Again, I say we understand this is a very tough industry of bureaucrats and all, politicians and all. I don't know, right or wrong, but it gives me a different confidence when you get your daughters also into this tough industry. How did that happen, sir? Because after studying from Cornell, Penn, and all those universities, they would want to do something which is high tech or something
Yeah. No. I would say it naturally happened. There was no pressure on them to enter into real estate or anything, or there was no pressure on them to enter into this business. In fact, when my elder daughter Pavitra chose to specialize in real estate from Columbia Business School, it was purely her own decision to do that. There was absolutely no pressure from my end. Similarly, when Nirupa looked into hospitality, I said hospitality is a good line of business. So why not hospitality was the thing? And with the result, now today we have 8 operating hotels and with 1,700 rooms nearly. And we have 4 hotels were under construction before the pandemic hit. So with the result, we will have maybe a year or two about 2,000 operating rooms.
Lovely. So you started, I think, along with the same in the same year when Prestige also started, right? At 1986, if I'm not wrong.
More or less, I think.
More or less, and you guys are good friends also.
Yes, correct. Very
understanding
true.
the old stories between you and Mr. Razak.
Yeah.
Going back, if you think about it, 1986. When you started, you said that you started with one project, okay, which was commercial. I think the entire tilt of the company went into residential. Now I think 70-75% is residential. So if I have to understand your journey, where you started, where you are now, what was in your mind, Kia? This is what I want to make Brigade, and this is what I want to make Brigade different from Prestige or some other real estate companies. And how has that journey been? Like if you think when you started those.
So see, in fact, for the first years, you'll be surprised to know the first 5 years, all my projects were commercial.
Yes.
I got into residential only after about 5 to 6 years of being in a real estate business. Mm-hmm. And, though we are good friends, we have never discussed on the strategy, but of being in what kind of business. But it has evolved naturally that both the Brigade and Prestige are in residential, office, retail, hospitality. These are the 4 sectors we are in. And, it is a great coincidence, I would say, because there are not many developers in the country can boast of being in all 4 sectors of real estate, which is residential, office, retail, and hospitality. So in our case, it was a very big, great coincidence.
So starting with the commercial projects, like 5 commercial projects, is a bold move. You need a lot of money upfront. Because it's not a residential project where you generate cash flows, as you said.
No, but initially it was all a strata sale. We were selling it like any residential project.
Okay, so those were sales of the company.
For sale. Okay. So the question of leasing office spaces started only when the IT sector grew, and the high quality companies started becoming office users and tenants, multinational companies. Then the question of getting your rent on time, etc., those risks subsided. So till then, all our projects, you can say till for the first 10 years, all commercial projects were all strata sale.
Okay, so nothing was leased earlier.
No,
it is leased right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, sir, I go back to understanding more from your side. How can a layman who's watching this interview understand that how Brigade is different from other real estate companies? Because as I said, for investors, sometimes it is just real estate lena hai, to ek Brigade le lo, ek Shobha le lo, ek Prestige le lo, ek DLF le lo, is this way. But if I have to think about it, how is Brigade different from other companies? And second part could be, like, when I hear you, I think, yaar, ye to bahut hi aasan hai. 35 years early, guy from, coffee family came in, took a bold move, it went out good, and then the second, third, fourth, fifth project came in. Now family is well settled. But you must have learned a lot of lessons, in the last 35 years, and there could have been very bad days also. So help us understand, what made Brigade, continue to be steady and improve over last 35 years. मतलब कि आपने ऐसा क्या खास है या आपने कंपनी में ऐसा क्या चीज है which kept on moving you?
No, as I said, one is there are not. It is not just one factor. It is always a combination of factors. One is I would say conservatism, which kept us where we are, in the sense we did not over borrow, we did not over trade. We always said that whatever we do, we should have the ability to absorb losses in case of tough times. If the going gets tough, you should always be able to ability to absorb the loss and not ditch anybody who has trusted you, like your customer, your business associates, like that. That is one. Passion is another thing. Say, unless you are very passionate about what you're doing, it is very difficult to continue the business in spite of all the tough external factors. Then perseverance is another important aspect. So even in tough times, it is not that you don't jump ship. Like you have to see the tough times through. It's not that right now the things are going tough, let me get into some other line of activity. The lot of perseverance, and also we do the business on certain core values, what we try to impart on every brigade. The people who work in brigade are called brigadiers without being in the army. So
Nice.
we have certain core values, what we call as QC first. Q standing for quality, C for customer centricity. QC first stands for fairness in our dealings. I is innovation in our approach, maybe design approach. Primarily, a lot is connected with the design. RS standing for socially responsible. While we do your business, you also have to be responsible socially. Cannot forget the society at large, which is giving you the opportunity to be in business. And last but not the least is trust. So we work hard to maintain the trust of all stakeholders, not just customers alone, stakeholders like your business associates, your staff, government, investors. These are all the stakeholders. We try to, we try our best to, maintain, gain their trust in business. So QC first is our core value. That is what I tell my second generation, I tell my senior staff, and we tell every new person who joins the brigade during induction. We try to drive home this point.
Lovely. So no, this is very, very nice. This is very, very important, from a real estate company. Again, if I think about the strategy which you have adopted versus other real estate companies, like for a layman, help us to understand the difference between Brigade and other companies in terms of the strategy. Like, you going into started commercial, then residential. What goes in your mind when you think, this is the way I want to make Brigade, which may be different from some other real estate companies?
Usually companies are starting from residential and going to commercial. We went from commercial to residential. So can help us.
So when the first project happened as a commercial, it happened just like that. I would say without any major strategy or anything. We looked at that first few projects in isolation without having any strategy. Strategy comes once we settle down in our business. Strategy came into picture, based on which based on which today the residential size of the business is much more than the commercial side of the business. But we felt these are all the, as I said, these are all the different arms of real estate: residential, office, retail, and hospitality. And as I said, coincidentally in Bangalore, we can say the Brigade and Prestige are in these two or these four aspects of real estate in a strong manner. There are some of our good friends and colleagues in business, like whether it is Shobha Developers or Purvankara, they're substantially in residential only. And there are other business may not be listed, like RMZ, they're very substantially in office business. Embassy is very substantially in a office business. Like that, each one has, their own strategy and core competencies, a focus. Like some are highly focused only in office, some are highly focused only in residential. But in our case, we are focused in each of these sectors, and that is, it has become like that. I would say there is opportunity in all these four aspects of real estate. So we thought we'll take this opportunity.
What are the benchmarks you follow, sir, to know that you're going on the right path? Like, what are those KMPs, is it like the million square feet, the area which you sell, or some other key metrics, what comes to you, as the chairman and the MD of the company, that these are the things which I should keep in my mind to see that we are going on the right path?
See, each project by itself should be operationally positive. And I think we try to see at least maybe about, at this stage, at least about 100 crores of revenue it should give. That is one metric we try to see. And also we study the risk factors. The title has to be absolutely clear, because ultimately we end up selling our product to multiple people who put their life savings or life earnings into a shelter, or shelter at home, or shelter in office, like that. So that is one of the key metrics. And we are today, I would say, 70 to 75% of our business is coming from Bangalore, where we are. But we have expanded to Chennai, Hyderabad, and a couple of tier 2 cities like Mysore and Kochi. So predominantly we are a South Indian focused company, with an exception that I have a few projects in Gift City, Gujarat, which is our PM's pet project, I would say.
Sir, one question if I may ask you, or maybe Dil se, sir, one inherent risk which a lot of investors ask us is that there's a lot of leakage which happens in real estate companies. Very mature companies like yourself, which have seen last 4 cycles. Is there any way where you have made sure that the leakages does not happen in the system? Like, maybe a lot of technology which is being used in the company, or some other ways where you ensure as a management that, we are clean as a company, there is no leakage. Is there any systems which can be put on the real estate as a sector?
See, I would put it this way. This is a sector which may be known for that kind of leakages. See, every trade, every profession, there are good people, there are not so good people. There are good apples and bad apples. Maybe in real estate, going by the history, there could be a little bit the percentage of bad apples, maybe a little bit more. But it is a question each company has to decide for themselves, that how ethical they want to be in their business. What systems and procedures each one adopts, and what ethics are inculcated into the team. And always good things have to start from the top. It is, if the top is clean, the people down below also tend to be very substantially clean. And, all our transactions are very transparent. That way, I think by and large, we can proudly say we are a highly ethical company and a clean company.
No, I have no doubt.
With some amount of pride, we can say that.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt. I was just thinking that, okay, just generally talking with you, sir, that the use of technology, say in a retail or a consumer sector, I think the cost is anywhere between 12 to 15%. But I think the cost of technology in a real estate sector is not even 1%. I'm not talking about you as a company. I'm just generally saying that the adoption of technology in the real estate sector has not happened the way which we may have.
It is bit low. Certainly, real estate sector is seen bit low. But you may be surprised to know that we got became a SAP. All our accounts, etc., is under SAP as early as 2006. We are amongst the first very, very few companies in the country to have introduced SAP in accounts, and we are the first developers in the country to go in for precast construction technology on our own, and we were probably the first or second company to adopt ISO 9001 certification as early as 1997. 24 years back, we got into the certification. With the result, we have established systems and processes which are easy for people to understand and follow. But that is, having said that, it is a continuous process. Nobody can sit back and say, I've introduced processes and that is going to be there forever. We are living in a highly dynamic world, fast changing world. And now the current effort is on a digital transformation. As much of technology we are using, whether it is for customer relationship management or even in the construction. The other important thing we are proud to say, my younger daughter Nirupa initiated and started a real estate accelerator. It's the country's first or only accelerator in real estate called Brigade Real Estate Accelerator Program, with the sole intention of encouraging PropTech technology into the property development line. And we mentor startup companies and also help them to stabilize their business. Proof of concept is we try to help them to get a proof of concept, and in many cases also help them to raise funding. And in that way, we have in the last 5 years, we have mentored and in our accelerator program more than 52 startup companies. Some of them were acquired by other larger companies. Some of them have received international recognition for the good work they have done in sustainability and other areas.
So am I right to say, sir, that the younger generation is pushing more and more technology like Pavitra and Nirupa into the company? Is that the right way? Or all these thoughts came from your mind also, way back, like SAP you mentioned?
No, definitely the thoughts come at the board level. Board also approves, but the implementation is done by the younger generation. It is a combined decision after a series of brainstormings and looking into opportunities in the line, and the implementation is done by the younger generation. And the success is credited to them.
So just wanted to sense, how is the competition intensity? Because in this cycle, at least we are seeing that, there are players which are expanding into more geographies, like you yourself expanding into tier 2 cities, going into Hyderabad, going to Chennai. Most of them, want to do JV JDA deals. So the landowners now have, a bigger opportunity to go to much bigger developers also. So how would a JV, a landowner choose Brigade over say a Godrej, say over Prestige or any other developer?
No, I think it is the prerogative of the landowner. A lot is to do with the confidence each one has on the developer. And also, it also depends on the commercial terms, what each one gives, and the kind of, I would say, wavelength management, it depends on that. But as far as the joint development, cases are concerned, it may be new in Mumbai and a few northern parts of the country. But in South, the concept is there for the last, I would say, 25 plus years.
Okay.
Or even 30 years. Joint development, doing business in the joint development way is there in vogue for 30 years or more.
Right. So more than, seeing the broader geography, what we feel is that the micro geographies are more important, say across for all the real estate developers. So, for Bangalore, if you can tell us, which are the new, say, growth micro markets which are upcoming, or say some which are now stressed and, we're not seeing a lot of growth there. So if you can just tell us something about that part also.
So Bangalore, since we don't have a restriction on growth, unlike Mumbai, due to the sea and the very nature of its, I would say, geography, Bangalore is growing in all four directions, north, south, east, west. Having said that, the IT sector, which is one of the major growth engines in Karnataka for Bangalore, is developed a lot in south, southeast, and northeast. It is in this geography. It is maybe 60% of the business happens in south, southeast, and northeast. And now increasingly with one of the best airports in the country and best managed, and with a popular airport as Bangalore International Airport, the growth is also naturally happening towards north. And we're now with the metro rail, operational in the western part of the city, west also is getting integrated to rest of the city much more.
Got it. Sir, so, I remember, if I'm right, when Prestige told us that I think they have well around 60 million square feet, right, till now.
Yeah, 60.
Around 60, and around 35 something is under development. Again, I think that you and Prestige started, at the same time in the same region. So that is why that comparison comes to my mind. Can you take us through that? I think you also, in the last 5 years did 35 million square feet, I think, which is more than double of the last many years put together, right? I think 38 million square feet in the last 5 years, which is more than twice of the run rate during 11 to 15.
Yeah.
Can you throw a bit light on
the? We have it all depends on how each one calculates the area of square feet that is done. If you consider the super built area for sale, we have done about 45 million square feet. And if you consider the built up area, which includes car park area, normally in SBA we don't take car park, we have done about 75 million square feet. So Prestige, in my opinion, they have done much more, both in super built area and the built up area. So we are, as I said, we are focused in these cities. South India now, Prestige is also actively entering or entered the Mumbai and NCR markets. Right. Whereas we don't have any immediate plans of entering these new markets. We would like to focus a little bit more on the southern markets. That is as part of our strategy. Each one has their strategy. So that is how we see. And also, I see real estate as a regional centric business, not only in our country, it is world over. Yes. It is world over. It is a regional centric business. There is nothing like a pan-India developer. There is not a single pan-India developer. if DLF is considered the largest developer in the country, they are probably 95% is in Delhi, Gurgaon, NCR areas.
Right.
No, they have, and they may be having a couple of projects in, whether it's in Chennai and Hyderabad and they may be having, but 90% plus maybe, in the north of the country.
So your pace of development has been very strong in the last 5 years. I think you said total is 45. I think 45 will be from 86, right? 1986.
Yes, correct.
And how much development is under progress, sir, for the next 5 years?
For the next 5 years, the intention is to add another 45 million square feet. Is whatever we have done so far.
Wow.
We would like to add the same thing. I think the market size is growing. India has been a developing country and continues to be a developing country. But today, today our GDP is at 2.5, 2.6 trillion dollars, which was the case when we were in 2019 also. In the last 2 years, 2021, due to pandemic, the overall GDP of the country has not gone up. But with the PM's and the central government's objective of taking the country to a $5 trillion economy in the next for 4 years or so, and things are going to be very different. When today our per capita income in the country is just about $2,000 or slightly less than $2,000 per capita. Once the per capita goes up to $5,000 or $7,000, as it happened in China a few years back, when China became a $5 to $7 trillion economy, I think there was a big boom in real estate.
I agree.
I also expect something like that to happen. Today, Indian real estate size is less than 1/10 of China's. Less than 1/10. It's less than 10% of Chinese economy in real estate. But once our economy grows, there is no reason why we cannot sail towards what China has shown.
No, I totally agree with this, sir. I totally echo what you said. Sir, one question which comes to my mind is that if we want to do what we did in the last 35 years in the next, say, 5 years, tell us about your balance sheet once, because balance sheet is important. How much CapEx you have already done? I think there were some very big projects what you have already undertaken, like WTC, Chennai and BTG Bangalore. Tell us about the intensity of the CapEx and whether our balance sheet can support this kind of numbers, what you're talking about.
And so you can understand the financing of the commercial space. How do the LRDs work and what happens over there?
See, I do feel we are in a position to do that. Our debt equity is quite low. It is, debt equity is, particularly if you remove the LRDs, which is self-financing, where we are at below 0.4 is to 1 debt equity, and in our residential side, our debt equity is less than 0.2. Is the debt equity. That way there is an opportunity. And also in real estate, if you have built enough commercial assets, if the need comes, you can always monetize the commercial assets, either by way of REITs or either by way of a sale, whatever each one can decide. So that way there is good enough scope and good enough opportunities for us to grow and meet our growth plans.
Sir, and in the commercial space, can you help us understand the vacancy levels right now? There is a new variant which has again come up. There'll be again, we can see what we saw in the second wave or in the first wave, or can you just give us some sense over there also?
Yeah. See, the last 2 years has been definitely tough for commercial. I would not 2 years, 21 months. 21 months has been definitely tough for commercial, particularly when work from home is continuing. But the nice part is the Indian IT sector has shown tremendous capacity to deliver in spite of the pandemic, to maintain their commitments. And with the result, the future is very bright for Indian real estate. Currently, the software exports are somewhere in the range of 190 billion dollars. That is now expected to grow at a double digit in the next couple of years. That creates a demand for office space in a big way, and office space in turn creates demand for residential. So they are mutually interdependent, I would say.
Right. And so, can you, just tell us what will be your market share, say in residential, say for example in Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, respectively, and then also for commercial, what will be your share in the entire space?
So, and just adding to his point, I think Brigade market share has increased more versus your peers in South in the last, say, 3-4 years.
Yeah, it is true. We have increased the market share. It is for a combination of factors. One is our own efforts to launch more and go for bigger projects. And the other second reason is there is a certain amount of consolidation of business happening to bigger developers from small to medium-sized developers. So those who have shown the ability to keep up the promises, give or take a few months due to the pandemic. Pandemic has upset the delivery schedules of projects without exception. But if you give a due credence to the pandemic, I think many of the bigger developers have maintained and kept up their promises. With the result, there is a convergence of business towards established developers who have proven during this pandemic period. Right. And those who have been able to manage the finances and their debt positions properly, and they have been the beneficiaries of this consolidation process.
Right. So as we were just talking about the balance sheet, I think during the pandemic we raised around 500 crores via QIP.
Yes.
So, and we also want to enter new markets, right? Like Hyderabad and Chennai. So from we don't want to be number specific, but if you can tell us, where will most of the money be deployed, in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, or in Chennai?
So there is no specific allocation for Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, because it is we raise the money as a war chest to take care of opportunities. So we are looking at opportunities in all the three cities, but in the very recent past, we have got some fairly good success in finalizing interesting projects in Chennai. And also in Bangalore. Hyderabad, we are looking at trying to close bigger deals. So it has not yet happened, but I think it's a matter of time.
Right. Sir, and in Hyderabad, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have heard that there are a lot of land title disputes. There are no FSI norms. So if you can help us, how do you tackle those kind of situations over there?
See, every city has land issues without any exception. Right. So one has to be very, I would say, careful and diligent in looking into the legal due diligence before finalizing any property. Right. It is, but in Hyderabad, the percentage of properties with legal. Questionable legal titles is a bit more in Hyderabad than other sectors due to a variety of reasons. Because of the Nizam period titles are there, one has to be careful in taking such properties. But after your proper due diligence, there should not be an issue.
Sir, which indicators you use? Like, do you look at ROC very closely when you think about, say, your residential projects? Because one thing which a lot of investors have here in the real estate sector, ROCs are never more than 10-15%. Like, internally, is that one of the metrics you use? And how are we on that ROC parameter as a company?
So return on capital employed in real estate is not great, but return on equity is fine. But a lot of one of the metrics we try to use is EBITDA. What is the EBITDA contribution, whether it is giving you 25-30% EBITDA. If a project gives 25 to 30% EBITDA, I think it is something worth considering. And the pace of sales that one can do is another important aspect. Overall size of the market in a particular micro market, and what is the pace of sales that one can do.
And have you tried to dissect, sir, ROC for the residential segment for Brigade? Like, does it go between?
Yeah, they're all in single digits.
Yeah. Why is that, sir? Like, is the nature of the industry?
I think it's the nature of the industry. It is certainly the nature of the industry, and because the money rotation, the number of times money gets rotated is not even one in a year. So if you're in a trading business, money rotation in a trading company can be 5 times, 6 times. It can happen in a year. In real estate, it is less than one, I think.
So even operating cash flows, sir, I don't see very healthy operating cash flows. Even if the launches are very strong, like we get enthused by a lot of launches and everything in a million square feet. But even if I see the last 3-4 years, the operating cash flows are negative for Brigade, right? Cumulative.
No. I think we are operationally, we have a very good operating cash flows, and quarter on quarter, year on year in the last couple of years, it has improved. So we are amongst the very few developers who have cash flow positive operationally.
Okay.
In fact, even in this difficult pandemic period, all our 8 hotels are operationally positive.
Oh, got it. Sir, you and again, sorry to compare or just name Prestige. So with our increasing market share, I think our size is now almost near Prestige, if I'm not wrong, right?
It depends. It depends in certain markets. Yes, in certain markets may not be.
A cumulative picture of the entire development.
Yeah, we are getting there, I would say, and currently I think their size is bigger.
Of course, but our pre-sales number are much lower right now because there are a lot of projects which are under development, right?
Under development, and also in the last 3-4 months, 3 months particularly, we have not been able to launch new projects because approvals in Karnataka were held up for whatever some High Court related reasons, and based on a High Court order on the civic authorities. For 3 months or more, the approvals were held up. Now things are getting sorted out. I think we can expect to see multiple launches from our end in the next quarter.
So can you give me a ballpark number of the CapEx, what you foresee say in the next 2 or 3 years for the kind of, for the kind of growth plans you have for the company going ahead? Like you raised only 500 crores, as Shivam said, but if the CapEx number could be what, how much estimated for the next 2, 3, 4 years?
Next 2, 3, 4 years, I think it will be at least, I expect about totally 3,000 crores.
Okay, so we get to raise funds as well, right? Because
no, we may need to raise funds, not necessarily diluting equity, where we have balance sheet strength to raise debt, and we also have, when the existing projects get completed, there will be cash flow, additional cash flow coming from there, and we also have completed projects. When those get fully marketed, it adds free cash flow.
So there is only one company, I think, in India who does pre-sales of 10,000 crores per annum, right? Prestige is nearing that. I think they did some 2,100 crores last quarter. when will Brigade, can achieve that mark of 10,000 crore pre-sales per annum as per you? Like, I'm not talking about few quarters, but years.
I cannot really respond to that. While that the desire is there, it can take maybe 5 years. Maybe.
Oh, wow. No, because you yourself said that India is still 1/10 over China is as a real estate.
Yes,
sector.
correct.
And of course, you mentioned that how much if we reach to $5-6 trillion,
Yeah,
real estate
yeah,
could be 10% of the entire GDP and all.
yeah.
So in a country like that, sir, 10,000 crores is not a very big number. Like 1.5.
It is not a very big number. That is the reason. In spite of that, no single developer in the country has reached that so far.
Okay, because it's not a sector where foreigners come and dominate the residential area, residential market.
Yeah.
It's the domestic guys only. It's
Yes,
people like you and others, who will dominate. वो JW merit वाला residential बनाता नहीं है. They can make commercial and all hotels, but not residential. So in residentials, if I pick up the numbers of whatever 5 lakh crore and market size of 50,000 crores of real estate sector or 60,000 crores, then as a sector, it's the pre-sales number are very, very small, and the kind of plans you have, say 35 million square feet going ahead in the next 5 years, 10,000 crores, 5 years, it seems too much for me to digest that.
No, that is the desire is there. It all depends on all external factors. So if external factors, if the stars get aligned, it may happen. Otherwise, we are not more than chasing numbers.
Correct.
More than chasing numbers, I would like to say we would the vision has always been to be a world-class organization in the way we do business, and not just chasing numbers.
Sir,
and be profitable, be as I said, socially responsible, and be ensure that your commitments are kept up to different stakeholders.
Sir, since you have seen the last 4 difficult cycles in the real estate industry in the last 35 years, where do you see where we are as a country, in this sector right now? There is a lot of enthusiasm. There is demand as well. Inventories are coming down. On the supply side, we have seen 50, 60, 70% weak developers going out of the system. Where do you see, where are we positioned as an industry in this real estate cycle?
See, in real estate, there is no big entry barrier. When the sector thrives, or if there is a boom, I do expect a lot of new developers to enter the market. Maybe hundreds of them may enter the market, and including corporates. And when the tough times come, many corporates also want to exit. They may not want to be in this line, which we have seen, without getting into the names. And a lot of big corporates who entered real estate in the last 20 years, you don't 90% of them you don't hear of their name now.
Sorry. But where are we, sir? Do you think that we have reached a stage of what, 50-60% of the cycle, or do you think that there are many more good years for the industry to see?
No, I would say many more good years are there to see, without any doubt. But the sector also goes hand in hand with the Indian economy, and where if the Indian economy is faltering, you cannot expect the real estate sector only to be thriving. So it is a lot depends how our Indian economy grows. And today we are in a globalized economy without borders are there, but the business is borderless. So the impact, like the pandemic, the impact has been quite damaging. So we are in a globalized world. What happens in the global economy if there is a war, or if there is a major political unrest elsewhere, can have an impact. Oil is another factor which can have always an impact on the Indian economy as being a big importers. So, yeah.
Which is that project, sir? Which is one of your, one of your biggest one which you are looking ahead right now? Like, the one big star on your back. This is the one big project from Brigade which is coming, which could change the tide for the company. Are there any such projects?
Yes, we do have, and you see, one of our best-selling projects in the city in 2019 was a Brigade Utopia. That it's a 4,000 apartments which got marketed very well, and we are looking into the phase 2, phase 3 of that with probably about 10 million square feet of in that project alone. In the second phases, second and third phase, that will be one major revenue generator. Like that, we have the different projects in Chennai, and we have projects in different parts of Bangalore. We have Brigade El Dorado, where we are constructing nearly 6,000 apartments, which is near the airport, which is received very well. And it is in the substantially the affordable sector, and people get a great value for that. And we have many mid-sized projects that are in the offing.
Sir, my last 2 or 3 very stupid questions, please don't mind, okay? I'm confronting you. One is, can you throw a light on the ESOP policy if you have as a company, and the dividend policy if you have as a company?
You will be surprised to know that there may be just some 3 to 4 companies, real estate companies may be having ESOP. And we are one of the first companies to introduce ESOP, maybe the only developer in Bangalore to have ESOP policy. And it has been very successful. And people, we have series 1, series 2 were there. Now from 2022, we have a series 3 ESOP policy. So all those people who are eligible for the ESOP have made very, very good returns from that.
And dividend policy, sir?
The dividend policy, generally we have maybe 20 to 25% of the earnings as dividends is what it's an unwritten policy, but that is how we are planning.
Got it. Sir, my last question, I promised. It gave me a very big comfort when I saw the new generation coming into the business, right? But that's a very big step what I think you and Prestige has taken, and all the marks to both of you. But sir, I really, I'm a big believer of the real estate sector in India, as you mentioned about the numbers and everything. As I mentioned, that technology is a very important part, and it should increase gradually, in this sector, and that will cut a lot of leakages and improve systems and everything. Second thing, sir, I have not seen a lot of real estate companies getting professional, outsiders as the CEOs or the, of the company. Like, Godrej Consumer, they got Mr. Sudhir Sitapati. It changed a lot of thinking, in the eyes of the investors. Do you think that is one change which may be needed to more professionalize, because there is a lot of demand, there is, there's everything in this real estate sector. It's just that how can it be more and more professional with a bit of more effort? Do you think that is one big change what you are thinking at all, or you think that should be done?
Yes, you're right in one sense. Real estate is substantially family controlled at the top. But that is also changing based on the examples you gave. In our own company, all the business heads are all professionals, and the family directors are all giving support, supporting the SBU heads. And at a business development level, their involvement is much higher. But otherwise, all aspects of business are managed by professionals. It is the strategic vision and strategic support is given by the promoters.
Lovely. No, because to be honest, I don't see many industries are talking like this, that what you did in the last 35 years, you are envisaging the same kind of things to be done in the next 5 years, right? Like when you think about the kind of change which is happening in this industry and on the supply side, so many of, suppliers or the developers moving out because of all these many crises which India has seen. I think it's just the change of mindset, which is important for a lot of investors to come into this sector and say, "Ki, these are professional guys. These are very, very, very professional guys." And I really love the way you have bought the new, like a lot of entrepreneurs will not get their family and daughters into this business until unless you're very confident about the ways or the processes what we are following.
But it is a fast changing. I may not be wrong in saying the second generation in many developer companies, not just in South, even in North, many developer companies, a lot of qualified, capable youngsters are taking over, be it men or women. They are taking over the businesses, helping their father or uncles or whatever the case may be. So the things are changing fast, and there's no reason why real estate also cannot change fast. And the future is, I would say, bright. We are much more, I would say, not dependent only on men alone for the success of the business.
That's a very, very good saying, sir. Women are much more capable. Sir, last question. A lot of unlisted deals are happening in the PropTech space. And we all know many of them are loss making. But the valuation wise, it goes crazy. 2, 3, 4 billion, $5 billion, whatever valuations they get. You don't get enthused by all these things, sir? Like, you are a brick and mortar company, 35 years, doing everything what you can do. And these are the guys who are coming since the last 4-5 years. So you don't get enthused by all that, sir?
So it is, I would say, it is an enigma. It is an enigma, very difficult to assess. But I think the investors are putting money where they think the scale of operations can go 2x, 3x, 5x easily due to technology, which is not the case in a brick and mortar thing. Brick and mortar requires patience, perseverance, good luck, a whole lot of factors, and which is not the case in technology-oriented companies. I can only wish them well, but I cannot say everyone will succeed. And but it is a time, it is a over a period of time they should start making money. It depends. Few will survive, many others will perish.
Sir, brick and mortar needs QC. आपका वो QC first model, or unlisted only wants VC.
That's a good one. That's a good one you mentioned.
But thank you, sir. If you have any questions, Shivam bhai. Jaishankar, sir, it's an honor.
It's a pleasure. I hope.
It's an honor to learn from you. You really made our day.
No, I hope we lived up to your expectation. And
आपने दिल से बोला, sir. जो बोला, I was always told by a lot of your friends as well that you are the most humble person to interact in the real estate sector. Most humble human being you can find in the real estate sector, and it's a great learning, sir. आपने जो बोला दिल से बोला, and thank you.
I thank you and thank my good friends who have mentioned that.
I will, sir. I will. धन्यवाद, sir.
Thank you.
बहुत धन्यवाद, sir. Thank you so much.